Hello and welcome to my channel, Mary Bourne ND and Gardening with Granny. It's been an eventful week. We've had on and off good weather. The evenings have still been pretty cold. In fact, we had one night where it dipped down into the freezing. So we can't plant tomatoes out yet. Usually Mother's Day is the planting, beginning of the planting season, but I was looking at the weather report and it looks like we may still have some cold nights next week, and then we should be clear, no more frost. So welcome to my sip and chat. My sip is water. And all the mothers out there, I wish you a happy Mother's Day. I got an early Mother's Day present. This is a berry cup, and it fits in between the pockets in the green stalk. And so when your berry, strawberry, sends out runners, you can plant them in here. And when they're ready to take hold, the roots are developed, you can cut from the other plant and transplant it where you want. So that's exciting. Last year, I kind of looped it into a pocket below, but I may not always want one in the pocket below, and this will give me an opportunity to move it wherever I want, gift it to somebody, so I can take it out of the container. I'm not going to gift somebody with my strawberry container. So finally, we got that no good hydrangea out. It took my husband and I 3 days, mostly him, to get it removed. And I'll show you videos of that after this video. We also trimmed the lilac, which I didn't videotape. It was kind of a spontaneous thing that the branches were so long and they were interfering. We have a little walkway and we don't cut the grass, but I imagine the people that cut the grass will be very glad that we did that, because I'm sure he had to duck to get around that. Also did some trimming of apple trees. Now, when you trim a lilac and it's still in bloom, you actually inhibit the bloom development for next year, which I'm okay with because this tree is enormous. We call it a second story tree bush because you see it from the second story. So I did kind of a half rejuvenation trim, which means rejuvenation means you bring it all the way down to about a foot. And half of it is when you do partial at a time. And that's what we're doing. So next year we'll do the part we didn't do this year, or a part of it, because I still want blooms on that bush. I just don't want it to be as enormous as it is. And lilacs have a tendency here in Michigan they can get 10, 12 feet in no time. So that was very productive. I was glad for that. Finally caught that groundhog. So now I can take the fencing off of my calla lilies that are down by the lake. And I still have I have somebody we think coming over to weed and trim bushes, because the forsythia, by the time my husband could get to it last year, we cut that one down and lost all the blooms, so we didn't have any blooms this year. So I need somebody to trim that so that it can set blooms for next year. I haven't planted anything in my big planter because I'm afraid of the freeze. We got up some lily of the valley, um, which I love lily of the valley. They're such a pretty little bloom. And my granddaughter wants to put in ground cover in one of her areas of the garden. Excuse me. One of her areas of the garden that she doesn't want to cut the grass anymore. And I suggested Lily Valley, and she said, "Oh, I love that." So it'll take a couple of years, but then it'll take off. And I needed to clean up an area, and so I was happy for that. And I also have a moonflower coming up that she wants. And I feel so blessed that my granddaughters like to garden as much as I do. Now, I think Sarah likes gardening more than Jessica, but Jessica loves her roses, and so there, and she wants mint. She gets a pot and puts mint in it, and Jessica has always loved mint. So has Sarah. And chives. So we would tell them, eat the chives first, and then the mint. So anyway, I'm happy to see them tomorrow on Mother's Day. That'll be fun. And did some planting in my green stalk because I can cover them. And so I I put in a couple of plants. I did some seeding of lettuce and beans and peas. So I look forward to that. I got some lettuce coming up, and I think next week I'll be able to do a garden walk. I don't know when the guys are coming to um, weed, so you'll have to accept the weeds along with the flowers. But my anise hyssop is coming up, and the grapes are budding, and it's an exciting time of the year. And I hope that you're enjoying your garden and you're remembering to smell the blooms. It is such a wonderful time of the year. Anyway, I just wanted to pop in here for a little bit to wish those mothers happy Mother's Day and tell you exciting news. I finally got rid of that hydrangea. Now I can plant something else in that little corner. And I'll take you along with that. My peonies are starting to bud up, so I think next week will be an exciting garden walk. So until then, I hope that you're enjoying your spring and love you all. Thanks for sharing and watching and commenting.